A lot has happened in the Austrian Grand Prix 2023 race. It was packed with action, and the new sprint format has continued to deliver high drama for all F1 fans. From the intensity of the only practice session, to the tense nature of qualifying on Friday, and the shootout first thing on Saturday, Max Verstappen completed a clean sweep of pole positions and race wins at the Austrian Grand Prix, with another dominant display in Sunday's main event, leading home Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc and the Red Bull teammate Sergio Perez. Ahead of the race start, a minute of silence was held for Dutch racing driver Dylan van 't Hoff, who tragically lost his life in a crash at Spa-Francorchamps on Saturday, while there also was a moment to remember the influence of late Red Bull co-founder Dietrich Mateschitz, who passed away late last year. A couple of pre-race communications saw Magnussen and de Vries move from the back row of the grid to the pit lane due to component changes under park firm conditions, meaning 18 drivers, the majority going for medium tires, with only Alonso, Bottas and Magnussen on hards. When the lights went out in dry but cloudy conditions, pole sitter Verstappen made a clean getaway to defend from Leclerc in turn 1, before placing his Red Bull perfectly to defend follow-up attacks from the Ferrari through turn 3 and turn 4. Leclerc slotted into second after a series of looks at Verstappen, with teammate Sainz watching on third, Hamilton getting the jump on Norris for P4, followed by Alonso, Hülkenberg, Stroll, Gasly and Albon, who held the final point-paying positions. Further back, Tsunoda tagged Ocon at turn 1 and lost part of his front wing, with Bottas also involved, before losing grip on the braking for turn 4, locking up and sliding off the track, the safety car subsequently being deployed. Tsunoda and Magnussen both swapping tires to tick the box of 2 compounds used, pitted under the safety car, which peeled back into the pits at the end of lap 3, with Verstappen mastering the restart to keep his lead over Leclerc and moving more than a second clear in a handful of corners. By lap 8 of the scheduled 71, Verstappen's lead was up to the 2-second mark, while Leclerc began to come under pressure from teammate Sainz, and Norris complained of the radio about Hamilton seemingly exceeding track limits on multiple occasions. "I think you can see, I don't need to let you know," said Sainz of the radio as he drew ever closer to Leclerc. The Ferrari is dropping further and further away from race leader Verstappen as the corners and laps ticked by. "We stick with the plan. No attack for now," came the response. In the midfield, Perez and Russell, both out of position after their qualifying woes, went wheel to wheel as they worked their way towards the points. The Mexican eventually finding a way past the Briton at turn 4 after an exciting scrap, while Gasly also made a move on Hülkenberg at turn 3 for 8. While Hamilton was struggling to keep his car on the track, Hülkenberg parked his smoking Haas to the side of it amid a loss of power, triggering a virtual safety car and sparking a flurry of pit lane activity from cars up and down the order. Hamilton, Norris, Gasly, Albon, Russell, Ocon, Piastri and Sargent all took the opportunity to pit under caution, saving them some valuable seconds in the pit lane. A lap later, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso and Stroll pitted, but Verstappen stayed out at the front. When the VSC ended and green flag conditions returned, Verstappen led Leclerc by just under 18 seconds, with Perez holding third from Hamilton, Norris and Sainz, who lost out after Ferrari's double stack. Sainz's fight back started with a pass on Norris at turn 3 for 5th, while Hamilton was given a 5-second penalty by the stewards over track limits, something he would either have to serve at another pit stop or at the end of the race. A pit lane incident between Ocon and Sargent, who almost banged wheels, was also noted. More laps brought more gained positions for Sainz, who cleared Hamilton and Perez in quick succession, before setting about making an impression on the top 2 of Leclerc and Verstappen. The question being whether Red Bull could make a 1-stop rather than a 2-stop strategy work. Intriguingly, Leclerc had cut Verstappen's advantage to 15 seconds by lap 23, with his lap times around a second quicker than the leader, who reported over the radio that tire degradation was high, casting some doubt over the aforementioned potential 1-stop approach. Hamilton and Perez were the next drivers to do battle in 4th and 5th respectively, the Mercedes almost finding a way past on several occasions, arguing over the radio that the Red Bull was exceeding track limits, something Tsunoda also fell victim to with a 5-second penalty of his own. On lap 25, Verstappen finally came into the pits, swapping onto the hard tires as opposed to the Ferrari driver's second set of mediums, rejoining behind both Leclerc and Sainz, ending his run of 249 consecutive laps led. Perez boxed a lap later, but took on more mediums. Verstappen wasted no time in closing on Sainz and passing him for P2 at turn 3, with Leclerc some 6 seconds up the road as the differing strategies played out. while another change to the order came when Norris overhauled Hamilton for P4 at turn 3. While Norris made progress, Piastri got caught up in the midfield scrapping, damaging his front wing in the bottleneck at turn 3 and pitting for replacement, sending him to the very back of the field, ahead of only the sidelined Hülkenberg. There was further drama when Sainz became the latest driver to be given a 5-second time penalty due to track limits, replays showing him going too far over the white lines at the exit of the high-speed penultimate corner. Towards the back of the pack, De Vries and Magnussen repeated their Canadian GP battle with some wheel-to-wheel action from turn 4 to 6, leading to the Haas dramatically running through the gravel. After 38 action-packed laps and with the various strategies in play, Verstappen led the way from Leclerc by some 5 seconds, ahead of Sainz, Norris, Hamilton and Alonso, with Perez, Gasly, Russell and Albon holding the final top 10 spots. Another flurry of pit lane activity saw Norris, Russell, Albon and Hamilton all pit again, temporarily promoting Gasly to the top 6, only for the Frenchman to become yet another driver to be given a 5-second time penalty over track limits. After his stop, Norris made light work of reclaiming his spot from Gasly. Sainz pitted from 3rd on lap 46, serving his 5-second penalty as per rival drivers, and rejoined just behind Norris, yielding a thrilling battle between the former teammates as they ran side by side from the exit of turn 3 to turn 6, where the Ferrari nosed ahead. After some electrifying action and several attempted passes, Perez eventually found a way past Sainz on lap 61, the latter arguing that he had been intimidating a lot in exchange. However, the time Perez had lost meant Leclerc was 13 seconds clear and seemingly safe from being reeled in. Having recently pitted, Stroll made good use of his fresher tires to pass Albon at turn 4 for the final point, with Williams' fortunes continuing to work out for the worse when news came in for a 5-second penalty for Sargent over track limits, Magnussen getting the same soon afterward. Up front, Verstappen pushed for a late pit stop to fit fresh tires and go for the fastest lap. After some resistance from the Red Bull pit wall, his wish was granted and he duly pumped in the best lap of the day as he took the checkered flag. Leclerc crossed the line some 5 seconds back, a margin that would have been around a half a minute had it not been for Verstappen's stop, with Perez 12 seconds further back in the final podium spot, followed by Sainz and Norris. Alonso could not add to his and Aston Martin's haul of podiums in 6th, while Mercedes had to settle for 7th and 8th with Hamilton and Russell's respectively. Gasly and Stroll rounded out the points-paying positions. After Albon's impressive run to 7th in Canada and the missed opportunity of more points in the Austrian sprint, Williams left the 9th race weekend of the season empty-handed, Albon taking 11th ahead of Alpine's Ocon and teammate Sargent. Alfa Romeo failed to add to their points finishes at the last 2 races as Zhou and Bottas took 14th and 16th respectively, surrounding the rise in the finishing order after the AlphaTauri's rookies run-in with Magnussen. Piastri could do no more than 17th after his visit to the pits for a new front wing, with Tsunoda via his lap 1 dramas and track limit penalty, and Magnussen the final drivers to finish, leaving Hülkenberg as a sole retirement. Lando Norris earned Driver of the Day as he used his updated car to great effect to beat both Aston Martin and both Mercedes and push the Ferrari of his former teammate Carlos Sainz all the way. Remember, you can always box here at F1 Box. Like this video and subscribe for all the latest in Formula 1.